Welcome to Telestory by Jakks Pacific. To read Ice Cream Dreams, press the blue square. To read Stop the Presses, press the yellow star. To have the story read to you, press the blue square. To read the words yourself, press the yellow star. Press the colored buttons anytime during the story to see animations play. To turn the page, press the green arrow buttons. Today was the day Spongebob had been waiting for all his life. It was finally opening day at the Krusty Krab 2. SpongeBob had good reason to be excited. He was sure Mr. Krabs was going to make him manager of the new restaurant. There was no one better for the job. After all, SpongeBob had been Employee of the Month at the Krusty Krab 374 times in a row. "I'm ready," he said proudly. "Promotion." SpongeBob spent extra time dressing for work that morning. "Cleanliness is next to managerliness," he declared as he straightened his square pants and went to work. The opening of the Krusty Krab 2 was big news in Bikini Bottom. "Before we begin with the ribbon cutting, I'd like to introduce our new manager," Mr. Krabs told the TV reporters. SpongeBob got ready to smile for the cameras. SpongeBob bounded up to the stage to accept the honor. "People of Bikini Bottom, as manager of," he started to say. Then Mr. Krabs whispered something in his ear. Mr. Krabs hadn't said SpongeBob's name. Instead, he'd announced, "Please welcome our new manager, Squidward Tentacles." SpongeBob was shocked. How could Mr. Krabs do this to him? Mr. Krabs explained that he didn't think SpongeBob was ready for the job. "You're just a kid," he said. "To be a manager, you have to be a man. Otherwise, they'd call it a kidager. You understand it, sir?" SpongeBob did not understand. He didn't like being called a kid. There would be no celebrating tonight. SpongeBob just wanted to go home and be alone in his pineapple. On his way home, SpongeBob stopped at the Goofy Goober's party boat to drown his sorrows. Patrick was there. Patrick loved hearing the Goofy Goober sing. But even the Goofy Goober song wasn't enough to cheer SpongeBob. Nothing could make him happy. Until Patrick ordered some ice cream. Triple gooberberry sunrise, huh? SpongeBob thought. I guess I could use one of those, he said aloud. Slurp! Splatter! Yum! SpongeBob gulped down a whole sundae. That hit the spot. I'm feeling better already. Once SpongeBob got started eating triple gooberberry sunrises, he couldn't stop. Neither could Patrick. Chomp! Chomp! Slurp! Slurp! In a matter of seconds, they'd eaten 2 more. And they weren't finished yet. Woo-hoo! SpongeBob called out. Waiter! He held up 2 fingers. Why do I always get the goofy ones? The waiter wondered aloud as he made 2 more triple gooberberry sunrises. All that ice cream was making SpongeBob really silly. This one goes out to my 2 bestest friends in the world, SpongeBob announced. Patrick and this peanut guy. It's a little song called SpongeBob and Patrick sang together. The waiter kept the triple gooberberry sunrises coming all night long until SpongeBob and Patrick fell asleep. The first thing SpongeBob wanted when he woke up in the morning was a double fudge spinny. A triple gooberberry sunrise just didn't seem like a breakfast food. After eating his sundae, SpongeBob headed off for another day of work at the Krusty Krab. The whole way there, he thought about how angry he was at Mr. Krabs for giving the manager job to Squidward. But Mr. Krabs had bigger troubles on his mind. King Neptune had paid him a visit. He believed Mr. Krabs had stolen his crown and sold it to Shell City. It wasn't true, of course, but King Neptune didn't care. He was ready to cook Mr. Krabs, unless someone was man enough to go to the dreaded Shell City, rescue the crown, and find out who the real thief was. SpongeBob was the first to volunteer. He would save Mr. Krabs' life. The road to Shell City is the most dangerous journey of all, the king warned. What chance would you have? You're just a kid. I know I can do it, SpongeBob vowed. Let's go get that crown, Pat. SpongeBob knew in his spongy heart that he could be a brave man, as in manager. The end. To read Ice Cream Dreams, press the blue square. To read Stop the Presses, press the yellow star. To have the story read to you, press the colored buttons. SpongeBob ran out of his house. Patrick, he called out, we're going to do the greatest thing we have ever done. Are we going to look at my rock? Asked Patrick. No, said SpongeBob. We're going to start our very own newspaper. What's a newspaper? Patrick asked. It's a piece of paper with information and stories and events, SpongeBob explained. We'll write the articles and take pictures. Okay, but I get to name it, said Patrick. How about News Made Up by SpongeBob and Patrick? Here's a camera, said SpongeBob. Go all over Bikini Bottom and take pictures of amazing things. Gotcha, said Patrick. What are you gonna do? SpongeBob smiled. I'm going to interview one of the most fascinating subjects in town. SpongeBob interviewed his pet snail, Gary. Now, Gary, may I call you Gary? Asked SpongeBob. Meow, said Gary. Thanks, said SpongeBob. Do you enjoy living with the delightful SpongeBob SquarePants? Meow, said Gary. SpongeBob giggled. I knew it. Now, tell me, is he the best fry cook you know? Meow, said Gary. Wow, thanks again, said SpongeBob. Patrick ran off to take pictures. Suddenly, he saw his rock. Wow, look at this amazing rock, he cried. I've got to take a picture of this. I've never seen anything like it. Say cheese, please. The next morning, SpongeBob and Patrick stood on a corner in downtown Bikini Bottom, holding out copies of their newspaper. Extra! Extra! Read all about it! Shouted SpongeBob. Gary comes clean in a shocking interview! Patrick yelled. And in the same issue, the amazing rock! But no one bought a newspaper. Everyone just walked by. Why won't anyone buy our newspaper? SpongeBob wondered aloud. They must be rock haters, said Patrick. Hey, Squidward, said SpongeBob. I bet you came here to buy a copy of our brand new newspaper. No, said Squidward. I came here to laugh at you two nincompoops. You'd have to pay me to read that stupid newspaper. Okay, here's $1, said SpongeBob. Read it and tell us why people aren't buying it. Look, this is boring, said Squidward. Who wants to read about a snail or look at a picture of a rock? But it's an amazing rock, said Patrick. Squidward shook his head. People want to read juicy gossip and see embarrassing photos. Of rocks? Asked Patrick. Stop talking about rocks! Yelled Squidward. Patrick whispered to SpongeBob, he must be a rock hater too. Squidward is right, said SpongeBob. We've got to get the dirt on everyone. Okay, here's my shovel, said Patrick. No, not that kind of dirt, Patrick, said SpongeBob. We have to find out everyone's deep, dark secrets. Later that night, SpongeBob and Patrick went to Mr. Krabs' house and peeked in the window. Mr. Krabs was putting dollar bills in little beds and kissing them goodnight. Sleep tight, my little loves. The next day, they spied on Sandy Cheeks. She was hanging her clothes on the clothesline. They spied on Plankton, who was singing a love song to his computer wife, Karen. Plankton sang in his deep voice, Karen, my love, you are more beautiful than the freeways in Cincinnati. I love you almost as much as I would love to get the secret recipe to make a Krabby Patty. They even snuck into Squidward's bathroom and spied on him taking a bath and playing clarinet. The next day, SpongeBob and Patrick were out selling their newspaper. Plankton sings corny love songs. Sandy Cheeks hangs clothes out to dry. Mr. Krabs kisses his money. Squidward takes baths with a clarinet, they shouted. Why are y'all sneaking around taking pictures of me? Sandy demanded. I only kiss me money on Tuesday nights, cried Mr. Krabs. My songs aren't corny, Plankton said, complaining. They are masterpieces of love. This is invasion of privacy, said Squidward. And you didn't even get my good side. If you can't print something nice, don't print anything at all, said Sandy. Mr. Krabs nodded. Aye, the lass is right. It was a mean thing to do, lads. I'm sorry, cried SpongeBob. We didn't mean to hurt anybody. We should have stuck with rocks, Patrick said, sobbing. We're getting out of the newspaper business, Patrick, said SpongeBob. But what are we going to do with all of these newspapers? Patrick asked. SpongeBob snapped his fingers. Don't worry, I've got a great idea. Paper hats here, shouted SpongeBob. Come and get your paper hats. Hats for sale, yelled Patrick. Perfect for wearing while looking at rocks. SpongeBob laughed. Patrick, I think this is the beginning of a very successful business. The end. To read Ice Cream Dreams, press the blue square. To read Stop the Presses, press the yellow